10 cases of large companies hit by ransomware. Find out 10 cases of large companies hit by ransomware and what are the best solutions to protect your data from cyber hacker attacks. 10 companies hit by ransomware in recent times. More and more companies have been affected by ransomware, facing serious losses and problems of various kinds. The paralysis of IT systems, the leakage of sensitive data, the privacy of customers and partners, strategic information published on external sites. Once inside the network infrastructure, ransomware encrypts files, taking them hostage. The cybercriminals then demand a ransom to regain personal data and reaccess the system. According to the research conducted by Thales, 1 in 5 companies has already paid or is willing to pay a ransom to face a ransomware attack. The problem, unfortunately, is significantly underestimated. Also, according to the French electronics giant, only 48% of large companies have a formal security plan to defend themselves from the threat of ransomware. Furthermore, what distinguishes ransomware from other cybercrimes is that they usually target the most strategic industrial sectors of a country's economy. Companies affected by ransomware often belong to the healthcare or infrastructure sector. These are more sensitive because they collect a lot of sensitive data. On the other hand, they are forced to pay the ransom because they have to guarantee the continuity of services and cannot afford interruptions. NBA under attack in April 2021. The Houston Rockets, the American NBA basketball team, was the victim of a cyber breach. The hacker group behind the incident is Babook, responsible for other major ransomware attacks, such as the one on the Washington, D.C. Police Department. The criminals were responsible for stealing 500 gigabytes of data from the Rockets. These included team financial data, non-disclosure agreements, and contractual and employee information. Babook threatened to disclose the data if the ransom was not paid, but it seems that the team has not succumbed to the blackmail. Houston Rockets customers, employees and business partners were promptly notified of the breach, and, later, law enforcement began an investigation. The case of the Lazio region among the companies affected by ransomware. We also count the Lazio region, which in August 2021 was victim of an attack. The administration's official Twitter account made the announcement. The error was dictated by the poor management of the infrastructures and the absence of a reaction plan to face accidents. The attack mentioned above on the regional CED created major inconvenience to regional business. The disappearance of practices, concessions and authorizations on issues such as construction and waste, in addition to the blocking of the vaccination campaign against COVID. These are the most relevant problems, as also stated in the parliamentary question presented on the 11th of August 2021. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, the number of cyber attacks against individuals and public institutions has increased sharply. According to Europol, criminals have exploited the crisis to carry out ransomware attacks in several member states. Recently, in Italy, the Lazio region has been hit by a ransomware cyber attack which forced it to slow down the issuance of important documents. The sensitive data of thousands of citizens might have ended up in the hands of the hackers. These attacks appear to come from criminals, but also from public entities in third countries. The protagonist was Ransom.exe, developed by a gang of cybercriminals who had already attacked other government authorities in the past. The entry into the information system represented a critical alarm bell for the state of national digital infrastructures. The attack shows the need to increase the level of effectiveness of public cybersecurity to have an adequate system to protect against ransomware. The most accredited investigative hypothesis provided that the attack had originated from the PC of a Lazio CRE employee in smart working. After installing ransomware on his PC, the criminals developed a system of phishing emails and removal of the online backup. Accenture blackmailed by hackers. The same Lockbit ransomware, in August 2021, also attacked Accenture, an Irish giant in the field of strategic and management consulting. The ransomware from the CryptoLocker family had encrypted the company's files and threatened to disclose them. The message from the criminals invited users to contact the hackers to buy the company's strategic data. These were, in all likelihood, documents from significant multinationals, Accenture's clients, financial statements, strategic records, and business analyses, but also passwords. As stated in the statement released to CNN by Accenture spokesperson Stacey Jones, we immediately contained the matter and isolated the affected servers. We have fully restored our systems affected by the backup. There has been no impact on Accenture's operations or our clients' systems. The request for $50 million not to publish the stolen 6 terabytes of data was not confirmed. The Geox case between May and June of 2020. Geox was the victim of 2 ransomware attacks. In the first case, it was a scam through cybersquatting, the creation of a fake website. As reported by the WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, over 50,000 cases of cybersquatting have been registered in 20 years. Many companies have been hit by ransomware of this type. The peak was reached in 2020, when online purchases soared due to the pandemic. In the graph drawn up by Statista, you can see the phenomenon's evolution. In 2020, there were 4,204 cases. The second attack against Geox, on the other hand, hit the logistics and storage activities. The email servers were hit, blocking internal communications and causing the interruption of all production and logistics activities. It took several days for the company to recover the encrypted files and restore regular work. The ransomware that caused the downtime of Geox's supply chain should be Snake, also known as Ekans, once again spread through a phishing attachment. Unlike other variants, this information-stealing ransomware does not need to connect to external sources to obtain configurations, access keys, or other data. Companies need to have an ally that acts quickly and efficiently to avoid prolonged outages. Contact HelpRansomware to get a quote within 1 day with information on specific costs and processing times. Hacker vs. Fujifilm. In early June 2021, Fujifilm was also among the companies affected by ransomware. Unfortunately, the Japanese giant was forced to close a large part of its global network. The rebel group launched the attack, whose malware is also known as Sadinokibi ransomware. Hackers entered Fujifilm's computer systems through a Trojan infection and then exploited the secondary ransomware payload. Whether or not Fujifilm paid the ransom to the rebel group was never known. However, as stated in the note from the company's European detachment, the attack only concerned Japan. Fujifilm Europe GmbH has determined that there is no related risk to our network, servers and equipment in the EMEA region or that of our customers across EMEA. Enel attacked by ransomware in 2020. Enel was also the victim of 2 ransomware attacks using the double extortion technique. Using NetWalker ransomware, cyber attackers first stole 5 terabytes of data. They later threatened to make them public. The ransom note amounted to $14 million. The attackers published a long list of folders stolen from Enel's servers on the dark web to certify what was done. A few months earlier, the Snake, Ekans ransomware had already tried to encrypt Enel's archives, resulting in a series of disruptions, mainly regarding customer assistance. To avoid this type of problem, it is best to contact a specialized company. HelpRansomware, among its services, offers guaranteed decryption and data recovery. National Rifle Association, NRA, ransomware attack. Among the companies affected by ransomware in 2021 is the NRA, National Rifle Association, an organization that favors firearms owners in the United States. Russian cybercriminals under the name of Grief claimed responsibility for the attack. From what was disclosed, it turned out that the U.S. National Rifle Association would have liked to increase its influence in the U.S. courts. And for this reason, he allegedly bribed some legal figures, paying them over $500,000. The Luxottica case. One of the companies affected by ransomware is Luxottica, leader of the Made in Italy in the eyewear branch, victim of ransomware in September 2020. The main consequence of this unfortunate inconvenience was the blocking of production. As reported by Il Mattino di Padova, the interprovincial secretary of the FIMCA Sicil Union, Nicola Brancher, declared that Luxottica has informed us that there has been an attempt to enter the group's systems from the outside. Luxottica claims that the hackers failed to breach the servers and that the company defended itself, but it was chosen to shut down everything for greater peace of mind. As a precaution, production activities in China were also blocked. Unlike the numerous scenarios already seen, there was no stealing of confidential data. The attempt made from the outside to enter the computer systems did not allow the criminal hackers to achieve their goals. Acer under blackmail cybercriminals also targeted Taiwanese cyber giant Acer in March 2021. The bad guys requested $50 million to allow the company to open the encrypted files. The cybercriminals first shared the stolen files and then images to certify the violation to the detriment of Acer. The problem of data leakage proved to be quite serious since it involved bank communications, bank statements, and spreadsheets. Acer's network proved very vulnerable due to a Microsoft Exchange bug. Previously, this led to the hacking of approximately 30,000 email messages sent by U.S. organizations, both commercial and governmental. Campari hit by ransomware. The last of the companies affected by ransomware that we will analyze is Campari, which in November 2020 was the victim of various hacker attacks. The culprit was the Ragnar Locker ransomware, which threw the IT infrastructure into a tailspin. As stated in the press release issued by the same company, some sensitive information was stolen. Employee directories containing personal data and company IDs. Some supplier contracts, including in the USA, business information and payment details. The data of approximately 6,000 employees. Following the download of the employees, the ransomware in question would have hidden itself using a virtual box that would allow the operating system to proceed with the sharing of drives and folders. The stratagem conducted by the attackers led to the subtraction of about 2 terabytes of unencrypted files and, at the same time, has allowed the encryption of a good part of Campari's servers. The corporate network was blocked in 24 countries. Campari first reacted by temporarily suspending its IT services to remove the ransomware. The emergency subsided after some time, and the Campari Group sites were back online. The most important ransomware attack statistics 2021 as evidenced by CISA, one of the official sites of the U.S. government. There was strong growth in ransomware attacks between 2020 and 2022. In the document produced in collaboration with the National Security Agency, we read that 14 of the 16 infrastructure sectors in the U.S. had suffered an attack. The American Association of Medical Colleges, AAMC, reported that more than 600 U.S. health organizations and over 18 million medical records have been affected by ransomware. In economic terms, the attacks cost nearly $21 billion. According to the text published by the HHS Security Program, the ransomware that had the most impact globally were Abaddon ransomware, Conti, and Rebel. The sectors most affected were the medical hospital sector, and, being vital data, 34% of organizations paid the ransom to get the data back. In 72% of cases, however, there was a data leak. As can be seen, the situation created by the pandemic has given hackers great opportunities to act. Forecast for 2022. The ransomware threat for 2022 should certainly not be underestimated. There will be no improvements, and data breaches will increase. Attacks are becoming more and more dangerous and complex, making it more challenging to build practical ransomware decryption tools. Social engineering intrusion systems stay in the lead, so companies affected by ransomware are set to grow. While a whole new trend is being developed related to quantum computing. Therefore, new methods that refer to post-quantum cryptography, PQC, are emerging. As we read in the text produced by Accenture, NIST is creating a decryption system that should be ready by 2024.